What's good, fellas? I'm Roup Reviews, and welcome to my review of the Banshees of Inisherin, the newest movie from writer and director Martin McDonagh. Now, if you didn't know, Martin McDonagh's last movie was Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, which came out in 2017. I personally love this movie. It also was the first rated R movie that I've ever seen in my life, so it will kind of always hold like this special spot in my heart. Now, Three Billboards, I feel like it kind of flew under the radar a little bit in the years following its release. It was big when it first came out, but after that, I feel like it just kind of flew under the radar. So if you haven't seen Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, you should definitely go check that out. I really love that movie. I will say, too, that the Banshees of Insherin was a lot more fun to watch, especially because I kind of had that nostalgic feeling. I mean, this is Martin McDonagh's first movie in 5 years. I kind of had that nostalgic feeling of what his style was like to watch, and it really is something special to kind of see that unfold before your eyes. And even though the storylines of these movies are completely different, it still really is cool to kind of see the range that Martin McDonagh carries with these two movies. They're so different, but they're so unique in their own way. So without further ado, let's just hop into it. This is my review of the Banshees of Inisherin. Now, the first thing I loved about this movie is the creativity. This is a plot, the storyline to this movie is something that I really never thought I would enjoy, but I really, really loved. I mean, just reading about the plot online before watching the movie made me laugh before I even saw anything, because the plot is just so outlandish, but at the same time, it's so clever and unique and crazy in its own way. Now, if you didn't know, this movie is basically about Colin Farrell's Pádraic and Brendan Gleeson's Colm. Now, these two are really good friends, and they're living on the island of Inisherin around like the 1920s era. Now, one day, Colm goes up to Pádraic and just kind of says that he doesn't want to be friends with him anymore. And Pádraic doesn't really know what to do. Now, at first, Pádraic doesn't really know what to do, and he kind of thinks that Colm's just kind of yanking his chain. But as time goes on, Colm kind of shows that he's dead serious, and Pádraic kind of is left in this lonely pit of despair. Now, I know what you guys are all thinking after I just gave you that summary, but really don't worry, because this movie is so much fun. Now, one thing that makes this movie so fun is the script. This script is greatly written. There were Irish words used in this movie that I've never heard before in my life. And it's really cool because at the same time, it's kind of its own journey when you have to look up words that you've never heard before and learn about them. The story to this movie also has this kind of Shakespearean vibe to it, where there is really long sprouts of conversation, one certain setting throughout the entire movie, and there's also a Shakespearean kind of character who is Mrs. McCormick, who predicts and kind of acts as a symbol of death in the film. I think this all just kind of links back to Martin McDonagh's foundation as a playwright, and I really love these kinds of movies. I loved it with Fences, I loved it with Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, where it kind of feels like a play even though it's a movie. It's also really cool when something is story-driven and movie kind of aspects are brought into it. Whether that's film, texture, cinematography, those things are really cool to see in something that would naturally be a play. Another great thing about this movie is that it kind of has a sad side to it, even though it is mostly a comedy. It kind of brings up ideas and things to think about while you're not watching the movie. One question Martin McDonagh kind of asks his viewers through this movie is, what are the lengths that you'd go through for friendship? And it really is cool to see something like that, because it really makes you think how far you would go for your friends. It's also really cool how this idea is mainly just opinion based. So while some people are willing to die for their friends, others won't. That's just another thing that I really liked about this movie. It kind of played with your mind a little bit, which is something that I think movies need to do more of, and something that you don't really see every single time you see a movie. The two leads, Brendan Gleeson and Colin Farrell, did amazing together. These guys have amazing chemistry against each other. So not only were these actors given an amazing script to work with, but they also played their parts perfectly. Each strain of dialogue just seems so passionate and so natural. It really was just hard not to smile while watching these two work. Now finally, to kind of finish this review off, this film is beautiful. The Irish island of Inisherin is a place that is so unique in its own way. It seems like it's such a condensed place, but at the same time, feels so open and wide. The constant views of beaches and seagulls flying through the air creates this relaxing feeling of peace. This movie was beautifully filmed, and I honestly believe that it was the best filmed movie of the year. I give the Banshees of Insherin an 8.5 out of 10. This is one of my favorite movies of the year, and I'm excited to see what picture Martin McDonagh brews up next. That's really all I got for you guys today. I hope you guys liked this video. This really was a great movie. You guys, if you want to check it out, you could go check it out on HBO Max right now. This movie also is in a lot of Oscar contention, which kind of gave me the idea to maybe make an Oscar video. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. I might have to give my predictions. I might have to. You know what I'm saying? I might have to. Drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe. You already know. I'll respond to any comments. Tell me what you thought about this movie, you know? Just tell me. And I still don't have an outro for you guys, so I'm just gonna end it right here.